We are on Yud Gimel Amud Beis. Let's just pick up from the Gemara, so things will be clear as possible. So we said in the Mishnah that if you shecht 2 kvasim to eat one of the chalos tomorrow, so the point is that you're having pigul on one of the 2 chalas. So over there, Rabbi Yossi says that challah is pigul if you eat it, and the other challah is going to be pasul, and the Chachamim say that both challahs are pasul. So you have pigul on one challah. The question is, does it make pigul on both challahs? That was the first thing. The Gemara says, Amar Afuna, Omer Haya Rabbi Yossi pigul b'yerach shel yamin lo nispagel ha'yerach shel smol. If you're pigul with the right thigh, then you don't have pigul with the left thigh. My time, just because one aver got tame doesn't mean all the avarim when they're separated are tame. Therefore, just because one yerech, one thigh became pigul doesn't mean that both of them are going to become pigul. You only get pigul for eating that one, not for the other one. Okay, this is what we got up to. Eisvei Rav Nachman le Rav Huna. So Rav Nachman asked Rav Huna, who understands that according to Rabbi Yossi, there's pigul only for the yerech shel yamin and not for the yerech shel smol. If that's the intention that you had, if that was the pigul that you had, la'olam ein bo kares at sheyifkal b'shteihen b'kezayis. So we're going to see exactly what this question is. But the Gemara says that the Brisa tells us that there's no kares on the second loaf until you have pigul by both of them for a kezayis. What does that imply? B'shteihen in ba'achas mehen lo. It's only pigul if you have for both of them, not for one. Now, who's that? That's definitely not the Rabbanan. Money. Basically, what that's telling us, this brisa, is telling us that, again, forget about the fact that it's 2 kvasim for now. The point is that you have 2 chalas. There's always going to be 2 aspects. There's 2 matirs here. There's 2 kvasim you have to bring in order to eat 2 chalos. Those are the things you're trying to eat. Those are the things that you have to bring. Those are the matirs. So right now, we're not concentrating on the fact that it's 2 kvasim. We're concentrating on the fact that what? You only had pigul for one of the chalas and not for the other one. That's what we're concentrating on. So according to the Rabbanan, if I have pigul intent for one challah, to eat the challah tomorrow and not for the other one, what do the Rabbanan say? All the challah is ruined. So it can't be over here that if you're telling me that what? That if I have intent, la'olam ein bo kares at sheyifkal b'shteihen b'kezayis. Over here he says that there's only kares on the second loaf if you have pigul intent for both of them. Now I'll have to see exactly what that means. But that's not the Rabbanan, because the Rabbanan say that the second one can be pigul even if you only have pigul intent for the first one. So it's definitely not the Rabbanan. Rather, who is it? Elapshita Rabbi Yossi. It must be Rabbi Yossi. And Rabbi Yossi must hold what it says here. Now, what does this say? La'olam ein bo karetz, bottom of Yud Gimel Beis. La'olam ein bo karetz at sheyifkal b'shteihen b'kezayis. What this is saying, in English, Pashup Pshat, is that you only have kares on the second loaf. Obviously, you could have kares. It's a given. Everybody agrees. If you have pigul intent for both, then you get kares for both. That's a given. Rabbanan say if you have pigul intent for one, you get kares on the other one as well. But what Rabbi Yossi, who says that if you have pigul intent for one challah, you don't get kares for eating the other challah, he'll agree that if you have pigul intent to eat a joint kezayis of the 2, it's more of a chiddush. You step back and say, L'shem yichu kucha brichu shchinte, I'm going to eat a kezayis between the 2 of these. Combined. A kezayis combined between the 2 of these, that's going to be pigul of both of them. Even the second one. Even though if I have pigul on the first, if I have intent on the first, it doesn't affect the second. If I have a joint intent on both of them together, then it's going to affect. So that's what we're suggesting. That's not Rabbanan, because you don't even need joint intent, according to Rabbanan. Even if you have intent for only one, you can ruin the second one. Right. But Rabbi Yossi is adding that even though I hold that if you have intent for one, you don't ruin the second one, if you have joint intent, and even though, of course, I agree that if you have intent for one and intent for 2, you ruin both of them, but my chiddush is over here that if you have intent for both of them together, a kezayis between the 2 of them, then you're going to ruin both of them.
And you don't have a full kezayis for the pigul one.
No. Again, you're sitting here, back up, and you say, I'm going to eat a kezayis worth of bread tomorrow, outside of its time, between the 2 loaves. If I say that, I ruin both loaves.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's what I'm saying. I'm looking at the two loaves and saying, I don't know how much I'm going to take from you and how much I'm going to take from you, but between the two of you, I'm going to eat a kazayis. And the chiddush is that even though if I looked at number one and I said, I'm going to eat a kazayis of you tomorrow, and then I eat a kazayis of him tomorrow, that's pigul. But if I eat kazayis of number two tomorrow, that's not pigul, because I didn't affect him. If I say over here that between the two of you, I'm going to eat a kazayis tomorrow, and then I eat a kazayis lamachar, I get pigul, I get kares for both. That's the olam emo kares that yifkal b'shtein b'kazayis. B'shtein in ba'achas men lo. Money elim rabbanan afilu ba'achas men nami. That can't be rabbanan, because he says even if I look at one of them and say I have intent to eat a kazayis of you tomorrow without even talking to number two challah, at the end of the day I'm going to get pigul on number two challah if I eat a kazayis tomorrow of number one, because they're both connected. El pshita Rabbi Yossi, must Rabbi Yossi. Now, what's the problem? Rabbi Yossi, according to Rav Huna, is the one who says that if I intend to eat the yerach shel yamin and I eat the yerach shel smol, I don't get kares on the yerach shel smol. Again, assuming that I eat. Well, it's not just about intent, pigul. It's about you actually eat. Then the next day you eat. What am I eating? Well, here I'm eating both challahs, or I'm eating one challah, or I'm eating the yerach shel smol. So he says if you eat the yerach shel smol, you don't get kares, even though it's aser. If you say that the two yerachs are one guf, which he does not say, mishum hachi mitztarif, then I understand why when I have the two challahs and I'll say I'll eat a kazayis between the two of you, then I'm going to combine them. Like you're suggesting, Rav Huna, trei guf ninhu, that by the two yerachs each one is independent, and therefore if I say I'm going to eat a kazayis of this one and I end up eating kazayis of the small, I don't get kares, it's not pigul, mi mitztarfe. So then why over here all of a sudden are the two challahs combining? Why are the two challahs combining and the two yerachs are not combining? Now the obvious or seemingly simple answer is that I'm saying I'm eating a kazayis of you, yerach, and I'm not eating kazayis of you. And over here I'm saying I'm eating kazayis of both of you. But even then, one would suggest yerach is the thigh. Says the Gemara, hamani. So who's this brisa? The Gemara is at least suggesting that it should be the same. That just like these two challahs can be mitztarif, so too again, then the two zevach should be mitztarif, and even if I say I'm going to eat one thigh, it should be like two challahs. One thigh and two thighs should be like two challahs. The left thigh and the right thigh should be like the two challahs. The fact that we don't combine the two of them, and if I say I'm not going to eat, that I'm going to do pigul on the right one, it doesn't affect pigul on the left. If I say I'm going to eat a kazayis between the two of you, we shouldn't combine them either.
Where does it say that it doesn't work that way?
What do you mean?
He says yerach, you're going to eat yerach yamin, right? That's pigul. Right?
If you eat yerach small, it's not pigul.
It's not pigul. But he's going to say I'm going to eat the challah, one challah, it's pigul, right?
But we just said if you're going to eat both, if you're going to eat a kazayis between the two of them.
All right, so why can't you say, what's wrong with saying, if you're going to say a kazayis of each of the limbs? Wouldn't that be the parallel?
What do you mean again?
Well,
if I say I'm going to eat a kazayis of each of the limbs, for sure I'm over pigul, right? The question is, no, that's everybody. Everybody says if I say I'm going to eat a kazayis of the yerach yamin and the kazayis of the yerach small, everybody agrees I'm going to be over.
All you're saying is combining the kazayis with the
so he's saying that it should be by default combined because they're both yerachs. If you're going to go ahead and, right, because you're suggesting here, Rav Huna, you're suggesting what? You're suggesting that everybody should, right? You're suggesting that this brisa, who does this brisa go like? This brisa can't go like Rabbanan. Right. This brisa we're saying must go like Rabbi Yossi. What does this brisa say? This brisa says that we suggest the two challahs, that we combine the two challahs, and we make a kazayis between the two of them. And if I say I'm going to eat a kazayis of the two of you combined, then we can combine them. So they're making a svara. I understand where you're coming from. It's not exactly the same, but they're making a svara that if you're combining challahs, you should combine yerachs. Yes. So that's it. Forget about whether you say one or two. You should combine yerachs, and if I say I'm going to eat a kazayis of one by default, it should mean I'm going to eat a kazayis of yerach, and even if I end up eating half and half, or whatever it is, you should combine them, but that's not pshat. If I eat half of a small and half of a yamin, it doesn't combine.
Why?
So why?
Where does it say it doesn't combine?
We just said over here. We said in the beginning, Amar Funa, Pigal bi yerach shel yamin, lo nispagel yerach shel small. That's the first line of the Gemara.
But
that's implying that you're not going to combine them. That's how I understood it. Again, that was the assumption. Either way, we're going to say, so it's not Rabbi Yossi, it's not Rabbanan. Who is it? Rebbe. This is Rebbe. Where again, we don't care about the fact that it's two kevises right now. All we care about is that you had intention to eat a kazayis of the two challahs together. And therefore, Lamaisa, if you eat a kazayis of the two challahs together, we're going to combine them and we're going to make you over pigul of both. Says Gemara, Rebbe, Tanya, Shochid at a keves lechol chayis chatzi zayis michala zu v'chein chaver lechol chatzi zayis michala zu. And again, this is interesting because it's not exactly the same. I shecht a keves to eat half a zayis of this challah, and I shecht another keves to eat half a zayis of this challah. It's not exactly the same exact case, right? Because what are we talking about here? We're talking about where you we were assuming even shachas shnei kvasim lechol achas min achalos lamachar, right? So let's just again, but we're not concentrating on the keves right now. We're concentrating on the fact that hashochet at a keves lechol chatzi zayis michalazu, chen chaver lechol chatzi zayis michalazu. So you say you have a zayis of each, half zayis of each. What should we say based on what we just said? We said that it should combine. Rabbi Omer ani shezeh kasher. Why? Taima de amar chatzi chatzi. Aval Omer kazayis mishtei and mitzarif. Again, don't concentrate on how many kvasim we're dealing with, but it implies that according to Rebbe, the reason that it doesn't combine is because I'm saying I'm eating a chatzi zayis from this piece of bread and a chatzi zayis pigul from this piece of bread. Again, all of these are saying I'm eating a chatzi zayis tomorrow. I'm eating a chatzi zayis of this bread tomorrow, and I'm eating a chatzi zayis of this bread tomorrow. In that case, it's not pigul. What does that imply? That if I look at the two breads and I say I'm going to eat a kazayis between the two of you tomorrow, then it is going to combine, and they're going to be pigul on both. That's Rebbe, exactly what we were just saying. For Rebbe Aliba Daman, the only problem is who does Rebbe go like? It means Rebbe has to have a precedent. If Rebbe is going to come before Rabbi Yossi and Rabbanan, that's fine. But if he's coming after Rabbi Yossi and the Rabbanan, he needs to hold like one of them. And at the end of the day, we just said it can't be Rabbanan and it can't be Rabbi Yossi. Therefore, what? Who does he hold like? So we still, it's very nice that we found somebody, but we still want to know, how do we explain this case? Where again, we're combining the two loaves to make one kizayis. How do we explain this case within Rabbanan and or within Rabbi Yossi? Seems like it can't be either one of them, because within Rabbanan, why do you have to combine the two? Even if you take one kizayis of one of them, you're going to ruin both of them. And within Rabbi Yossi, it doesn't seem again to work either, because he says that you don't combine things. So which one is it? Says the Gemara, la'olam aliba de Rabbanan. Rather, this is within the Rabbanan. Again, how could it be the Rabbanan? The Rabbanan say that if I look at two challahs and I only say I'm going to eat a kazayis of one of them, I ruin the second one. So what do you have to tell me that I can have a kazayis, if I look at both of them together and say I'm going to eat a kazayis between the two of you, I ruin both of them? What's the chiddush there? It's obvious. Says the Gemara, la'olam aliba de Rabbanan, v'lo tema achi yifkal b'shteyen, and you're reading it wrong. Because what did the Brisa on Yud Gimel Amud Beis say that you were reading? What were you reading? You were reading that, what does it say? Back on the third to bottom line, la'olam ein bo kares, there's no kares on the second loaf, achi yifkal b'shteyen b'kazayis, until you combine the two breads, and you say I'm going to eat a kazayis of both of them. We said, how could that be Rabbanan? What do I have to combine the two breads for? Just look at one of them, and say I'm going to eat a kazayis of that one, and I'll ruin the second one. Says the Gemara, no, you're not looking at the loaves of bread. What are you looking at? You're looking at the keveses. You're right, according to Rabbanan, you don't have to look at both loaves of bread. Look at one loaf of bread, and you look at that one loaf, and you ruin both. Rather, what's it talking about? Achi yifgal shtayin, that the second loaf is only pigol when both of them, when there's a combination of both of them. No, machi yifgal shtayin, ela ema achi yifgal bishneihen. What's shteihen? Shteihen is feminine. That's the loaves of bread. Loaves of bread are feminine. What's shneihen zachar? 2 kvasim, 2 lambs. Vafilu be'achas mehen. Ela ema achi yifkal b'shneihen. Vafilu be'achas mehen. What's that here? What's the chiddush here? So the chiddush here seems to be that each lamb, right? Each lamb is what? Each lamb is half of a matir, right? And you need pigol during both, even for kazayis. Again, I want to just, this Gemara is hard, and this part I understand, but we might get a little bit off track later. But for now, what's this talking about? We thought what? Again, we thought that this can't be Rabbanan, because again, Chazer, what did Rabbanan say? Rabbanan say that if I have 2 loaves of bread in front of me, and I say I'm going to eat this loaf tomorrow, then if I eat this loaf tomorrow, I ruin both breads. That's what we said. So we're saying now it can't be that the Rabbanan are the same people who say that if I have 2 loaves in front of me and I say between the two of you, if I eat a kazayis, I'm going to eat a kazayis tomorrow and you ruin both breads, because I don't need that chiddush. Even if I would just eat a kazayis of one of them. And we're saying, no, that's not what this is talking about. It's not talking about eating a kazayis of the 2 of them together. What is this talking about? This is talking about that you have to have intent now, because we had 2 things. We had the shachting of the keves. It was during the shechita of the keveses, 2 keveses, I had in mind that I'm going to eat a kazayis of these 2 together. No, that's not what the chiddush here is. Chiddush is not talking about putting the 2 of them together. According to Rabbanan, I don't have to put the 2 of them together. What do you have to put together? You have to put the 2 keveses together. That means if I want to go ahead and I want to ruin the shtei alechem, I want to ruin the bread, I have to have pigul intent not just during one keves, but during both keveses. That's what it's teaching me. That I'm shechting two kevises. I'm shechting, right, before again, I'm shechting two animals in order to be able to eat the two pieces of bread on Shavuos. So we thought that the whole chiddush here was that when you're shechting each of the animals, we didn't care. We said that when you're shechting one of the animals or both of the animals, it's about the intent that you have vis-a-vis the bread. Right? And if you have intent, according to Rabbanan, for one piece of bread that it's going to be pigul, then both of them are pigul. But that's not what it's saying here. It's saying here that you're combining the two. What are you combining? You're not combining the breads. It's not that you're looking at the breads and saying, I'm going to eat a kazayis of the two of them together. No. What you're saying is that during each of the shchitas, I have in mind to do pigul on one of them. That means I have two pieces of bread, and we don't have to combine the two according to the Rabbanan, because if you only have intent about one of the breads, that's enough to have pigul. What's the chiddush here? What is this brayta telling us, which is not a kash anymore? It's telling me that when I shech the first keves, in order to have pigul, when I shech the first keves, I have to have these two loaves of bread here. And I'm shechting the first keves, and while shechting the first keves, I have to have intent that I'm going to eat this one tomorrow. Seemingly, of course, I could have intent also that I'm going to eat a kazayis of the two of them together, but that's not the point here. The point is that when I shech the first keves, I have to have intent that I'm going to eat this tomorrow. If I go ahead and eat this tomorrow, that's pigul. But it's only pigul if while shechting the second keves, I also have intent that I'm going to eat this tomorrow. And if I only have intent while shechting the first keves and not while shechting the second keves about this challah, then it's not going to be pigul. That's what the Gemara seems to be saying over here, and that's a chiddush. And that doesn't go against Rabbanan. Rabbanan say that if I go ahead and I shecht both keveses, and during both keveses I have intent that this is going to be eaten tomorrow, then this also becomes pigul, because they go together. That's what the Rabbanan said. What we're adding to the Rabbanan is we didn't think we were talking about two keveses. Until now we thought we were talking about shechting one animal, and if I have intent that this is going to be pigul, then this becomes pigul as well. The chiddush here is that in a case like the shtei lechem, where you have to go ahead and shech two animals, you have to have intent during both animals that this becomes pigul in order for either one and both to become pigul. And if you only have intent during one of the animals, then seemingly neither one of these will become pigul. That's the chiddush over here.
Two distinct thoughts, not one.
It sounds like you have to have two distinct thoughts during both of the kvasim. Again, obviously, if you shech both kevises one after the other, and during the entire time you're thinking,
time, no? It
takes time. So during both shchitas, you have to have in mind, l'shem yichud, I'm making this pigul.
So the matir's on both, basically. That's the whole point.
The whole point is that both kevises are the matirs. Without shechting both kevises, you can't. The point is that you can't eat the shtei alechem. You can't eat these two pieces of bread until you shech both kevises. So if both kevises are the matirs, then you have to have pigul during both matirs in order to ruin the in order to ruin the chalas. Right, the matir we said is that which makes it permissible. So you have to have the wrong intent, and this makes sense. You have to have the wrong intent during both matirs while shechting both A and B in order to ruin both chalas. Now, if you do have the wrong intent, then the chiddush of the Rabbanan is that if you have the wrong intent vis-a-vis Aleph, then you're going to ruin the challah bays as well. But the Rabbi Yossi will say he will also agree maybe that you have to have the wrong intent during both matirs, but he'll say that if you have the wrong intent during both matirs vis-a-vis Aleph, you will not ruin challah bays. Challah bays is still puzzle, but you will not become chayav twice for pigul if you eat both of these loaves tomorrow. That's a chiddush in the Mishnah. Okay, we got to keep going. It's almost Shabbos. Says the Gemara, "Ulafuke mi de Rabbi Meir." This excludes Rabbi Meir. To Amar mefaglin bechatzi matir kamash malan delo, and this excludes Rabbi Meir, who says that you could have pigul just by chatzi matir, which means according to Rabbi Meir, if I have intent to eat this lamachar while shechting only one of the matirs, chatzi matir, only one of the kevises, then I'm not going to go ahead. Then I'm going to ruin it, and vis-a-vis according to Rabbanan, I'll ruin both. But we're saying that we're excluding Rabbi Meir. We're saying we don't paskin like that, and you have to have the wrong intent during both of the kevises in order to ruin it. Ihachi mai la'olam. So then what does it mean la'olam? If you're talking about that la'olam teaches me that what? When it says la'olam, ein bo kares, the second one, actually yifkal b'shtehen, by both what? By both of the kevises. So what's the olam? The olam always seems to be a chiddush. He seems to be telling me one thing. You have to have pigul intent during both kevises. What's the olam? What's the additional chiddush? Says the Gemara. What does the olam mean? So the olam is iyamar bishlama bishtehen uvishnehen v'Rabbi Yossi lafuga midrabbi Meir midrabanan kasi hainu dekamar laolam. If you tell me that it's a chiddush in not only the lambs but in the loaves as well. Lafuke mi Rabbi Meir, like we said, who just said that what? That you could be mefagel b'chatzi mater. We're saying you can't be mefagel b'chatzi mater. And we're excluding the Rabbanan. who says what? That even if you have pigul on one of the chalas, you ruin both. That's why I would say la'olam. But we're saying that we're not excluding Rabbanan. We're going within the Rabbanan. Rabbanan ulafuke midirav meir mai la'olam. Again, the question just goes back. If this is the Rabbanan, like we said, that having intent for one ruins both, and the chiddush here is that you have to have intent during both kevises, what's la'olam? What's the second chiddush? It means you only told me one chiddush. You have to have intent during both kevises. What's the second chiddush? La'olam sounds like forever. That means you have to have intent. You could have just told me that, right? It didn't have to say la'olam. It could have just said that you should know Eimbo Kares on the second one, Achiyifkal Bishtehen in the two kevises. What's la'olam? What's la'olam adding? Says the Gemara, I don't know. Therefore, va'od, and then they ask another kasha. Ha'amar Ravashi, Tashma, Rabbi Omer, Mishum Rabbi Yossi. Again, we have to get the chocolate v'tarya, but more importantly for us, we have to get all the pieces. So now Rabbi Omer, a new thing, Mishum Rabbi Yossi. Pigel bedavar nasa b'chutz pigel. Bedavar nasa b'fnim lo pigel. So what we're going to see now, very interestingly, is that in order to have pigel, there's another rule. It has to be that you're standing outside of the heichal. You can never affect pigul if you're standing inside the kodesh. You have to be standing outside of the heichal, and your intent needs to be for something that is done outside of the heichal. If in fact you're standing in the heichal, or you're standing out of the heichal, but your intent is to do something wrong lemachar in the heichal, that's not pigul. Therefore, what says the Gemara? What? Lemachar, tomorrow. Keitzad haya omed b'chutz v'amar hareini shochet al manat lahazot midama lemachar. If I'm standing outside, so I'm standing in the right spot, or I should say you're standing in the wrong spot. If you're standing in the right spot for pigul to take effect, but you say I'm shachting this al menas to throw the dam inside the heichal lemachar, what's that? Is that pigul? No. Because the intent that I'm having for lemachar, the wrong intent, is about something that's being done inside of the heichal. Lo pigel shemachshava b'chutz b'davar anasa b'fnim. If I actually throw the dam b'fnim tomorrow, again, I always have to throw the dam, or I have to eat the thing, whatever it is. So that's not, because it's a davar nasa b'fnim. Haya ome b'fnim, you could stop there. Once you're standing inside, there can't be pigul. V'amar, even if you say, Hareini mazeh al menas lahakter morin lemachar v'lishboch shirayim, the leftover blood lemachar outside the heichal, it's not going to be pigul. Why not? Because you're standing inside. Lo pigul shemachshav b'fnim b'davar nasa b'chutz. Where is pigul? Haya ome b'chutz, you're standing outside the heichal, and you talk about doing something lemachar outside the heichal. V'amar, Hareini shochet al menat lishboch shirayim, the extra blood lemachar, ulahakter emorin lemachar. I'm going to burn the emorin on the outer mizbeach tomorrow. Pigel, if I do either one of those tomorrow, shem machshava b'chutz b'davar nasa b'chutz. So then I was pigul, because at the end of the day I had machshava b'chutz b'davar nasa b'chutz. Says the Gemara, lishboch shirayim lifgule mai. So what exactly becomes pigul? That means I shechted now this animal outside of the heichal, and I had in mind that I'm going to throw the blood, that I'm going to pour the extra blood tomorrow at the wrong time outside the heichal. So it becomes pigul. What becomes pigul? Pigul sounds like something is aser, and if I eat it, then I'm over pigul. So what exactly becomes pigul here? The blood becomes pigul? It means when I pour the blood becomes pigul.
The meat, something to eat.
Well, let's see. Says the Gemara, lishpoch shiraim lifgule mai, elim lifgule dam mi mifgal. Dam cannot become pigul. V'adnan elu dvarim shein chayim na'lam mishum pigul. Hakometz v'alavon v'aktoras u'mincha kohanim u'minchas nesachim u'minchas kohen mashiach v'adam. So the dam doesn't become pigul. So Gershon says, Ela pshita lifgule basar. What becomes pigul over here? If I go in and I pour the dam tomorrow, what becomes pigul? The meat. And the meat is asur to eat. And if I eat the meat, then that's it. Says the Gemara, I understand. So what's happening here if you think about it? What am I doing? I'm pouring dam at the wrong time. I'm pouring dam, lemachar, outside the heichal. And what is becoming pigul through the pouring of the dam? Another entity, the basar. By pouring the dam lemachar, I'm ruining the basar. Right? What's wrong with that?
Thinking about pouring the dam.
By thinking about pouring the dam
and then doing it.
And then doing it.
Yeah.
Right? So says the Gemara, Hashta umahasam de lo chashbe bebasar gufe. Am Rabbi Yossi mifgal. So what comes out? I don't think anything about the basar. I'm not thinking about meat. I'm not one of these guys that's always thinking about meat. So I'm not thinking about meat, and I go ahead and I pour the dam, or I think about pouring the dam, and what do I ruin with the dam? I ruin the meat, because you can't make dam into pigul. Hacha de chashbe bezevach gufe lo kol shekein de pigel b'yerech yamin pigel b'yerech small. I understand. If over there Rabbi Yossi says that when I think about pouring blood at the wrong time I ruin meat, So how could it be that over here, he tells me that if I think about eating the Yerech Yamin at the wrong time, I don't ruin the Yerech Smol? It makes no sense.
Because one's an avoider.
What do you mean? Yerech is the thigh.
Yeah.
So again, at the end of the day, he's going out and he's saying that if I pour blood, I ruin meat. But if I have pigul on meat, I don't ruin the other meat. It's part of the same animal. He's going out on a limb. Yes, don't say it. Okay. Says the Gemara.
You're good now.
No, I just know I'm not good. I hear you starting to. I would never think it, but once I hear you starting, then I get it. Baruch Hashem, I don't think it on my own. Okay. If I start, follow. If I start thinking like you guys, and nobody makes comments like that in the 6:30 daf. They're too tired. 6 o'clock daf. I don't even know what time daf is. Says the Gemara. Ve'od ha'amar Ravina. Yeah, if it was only Friday, this is a Monday also. That's the problem. Ve'od ha'amar Ravina. Ravina says, Tashma. So again, that's another kasha. I like them. Don't worry, keep going. So that's another.
Don't encourage me.
So that's another kasha. So says the Gemara. Oh, you do that at home also? Oh no. Homer Ravina. Tashma.
So we're saying that blood can affect the meat.
We're saying blood can affect meat. Obviously, pigul on meat should affect meat. Don't try that at home. Tashma. Hakometz es mincha lechol shiareha o lahaktir kumsa lamachar mod Rabbi Yossi bezusha piga v'chayavna love kares. Says the Gemara again. Now we have another kasha. If you kometz the mincha, as you do the kamitza, you have in mind that I'm going to eat the leftovers tomorrow, or I'm going to burn this kamitza tomorrow. So it's pigel. Says the Gemara, lahaktir kumsa leifgule mai. What becomes pigel? When I go ahead and I have intention to go ahead and burn this kamitza tomorrow, what becomes pigel? Seemingly the mincha. Says the Gemara, it can't be the kometz. Elim leifgule kometz mi mifgal vatan el duram shein chayim nolam mishum pigel kometz. This kometz cannot become pigel. So what happens? You're burning it anyway. Ella pshita lifgule shiraim. So what are you doing? You're taking off the kamitza. You're having intent to burn this kamitza at the wrong time, and by burning this kamitza at the wrong time, you're ruining the shirayim. Same kasha. If I'm playing around with intent with this kamitza and I'm ruining something else, the mincha. So why, if I'm playing around with actual meat, if I'm talking about doing pigul on a yerach shel yamin, how can I not ruin the yerach shel smol? According to Rabbi Yossi.
Kamitza is an actual avoid. It's like shchita.
Okay.
So if you have a wrong machshava during an avoid, it's going to affect the mincha.
But I'm having a wrong machshava during
an avoid kamitza, so you're going to affect the mincha.
But the yerach shel yamin, I understand the yerach shel yamin. I'm having the wrong machshava during the shchita as well. When I say that you're pigal the yerach shel yamin, when are you pigal the yerach shel yamin? When you're doing shchita.
Right.
So it's also during an avoda. You're having when you. I'm not talking about pigal yerach shel yamin. I'm just walking up to a yerach shel yamin and saying you're pogel. I'm doing shchita, and during the shchita, I'm saying I'm going to eat the yerach shel yamin chutz zmano. So if I'm going to eat the yerach shel yamin chutz zmano, it should ruin the yerach shel smol also.
Do you think pigal always during some avoda?
Yeah, I'm saying by definition, in order to be pigal, it needs to be during an avoda.
It's one of the steps. It's a progression.
It's the same thing, though.
Okay.
Again, it's not. You're right. It's not exactly glop, but the point is that the Gemara is making the comparison that if during the avoda of kamitza I can ruin something else, right, then during the avoda of shchita where I'm ruining this, I should definitely ruin the thing that's exactly like it. Right. Says the Gemara. I don't even know where we're up to.
Aren't you making the pigul the entire animal?
Right. You're making pigul.
I mean, if you say I'm going to eat just the limb.
No, so it sounds like you're not making pigul.
But how can that be? The shchita, when you make the shchita, the animal's whole.
Right.
And you say, I'm going to eat yerach yamin machar.
Right.
He wants to say only yerach yamin is pug.
Right.
The rest
sounds like the rest is not.
Everything else.
Again, you
It's
can't. It's us.
animal.
The point is that you can't eat it. Everybody agrees you can't eat it. The question: are you going to be chayiv kares for it?
I'm saying that, but the whole.
Right, I understand. The question: are you going to be chayiv kares for it? So it sounds like you're not chayiv kares for it. That's the chiddush. I'm saying you should be chayiv kares. Like you're saying, it's part of the whole thing. Like what's the difference? Says the Gemara, hashto ma'atzim telachashibu b'shirayim gufei mifgale. Again, it's the same kasha. When you're only dealing with the shirayim, it's mifgale. Hacha dechashibu bezvicha gufa lo kol shekain. Over here by the right thigh, where you're dealing with the entire thing, it for sure should be pigul on both. Elam Rabbi Yochanan hainu taima de Rabbi Yossi hakasavas on guvechad v'hakasavas on shnei gufen. Rather, the reason for Rabbi Yossi again, who holds that by the yerech it's different, and by the lechem and lechem aponim is different, is because by the lechem aponim the Torah and by the Shtei Lechem, the Torah is sort of treating it quasi. Sometimes it treats both of them as one, and sometimes it treats it as two entities. What does that mean? So how you tell me to Rabbi Yossi? Akasu by the Shtei Lechem and Lechem upon him. Sometimes it makes it as one entity. Let's just use the Shtei Lechem. Sometimes it makes the two of them as one entity. Sometimes it makes it as two entities. Where does it sometimes make it as one guf? That they're each ma'akev. That means you can't offer one without the other. You can't go ahead and only offer one of the Shtei Lechem. You have to offer both of them. You can't just bring one of the sets of Lechem upon him. You have to bring both. Therefore, they're ma'akev, and they ruin the avodah if you don't do both. Where are they separate? Well, you tell them that we should prepare each of them separately. They're prepared separately. These 6 are prepared one way, and these 6 are prepared at another time. So therefore what? Arvinu ma'arvin. So what's the chiddush? Arvinu mis'arvin de'akasav asan guf echad. Palginu mifalgele de'akasav asan shnei gufin. So the chiddush over here that he's saying is that what? If one combines them with the intent to eat a kazayis from both of them, then we're going to go ahead and we're going to make them guf echad. We're going to say pigol of both. So again, we're just bringing the chidushim back to the beginning. That if you look at both of them and you say, I'm going to eat a kazayis between the two of you, so since the kasav sometimes makes these two lachems into one, if I say I'm going to eat kazayis between the two of you, we make them into one, and if I go ahead and eat a kazayis, it's going to be pigol. But it sometimes makes it into two, that what? That palginum, if I have intent to eat one beyond its man, what does Rabbi Yossi say? I'm only going to be chayiv pigol for that one. So in certain times, it combines it. If I'm going to eat a kazayis between the two of them, it combines it, and I'm going to be over pigul on both of them. But at certain times, it keeps them separate, that if I go ahead and I have intent to eat one of them beyond its man, it's only going to affect that one, and it's not going to affect both of them. Bar Rabbi Yochanan, pigel balach metoda mahu. So now you have pigul, new case. You have pigul by lach metoda. What's the case of lach metoda? So we know that when you bring the Korban Toda, you bring 40 breads with it. These 40 breads are from 4 different categories of bread. Different types of bread, matzah bread, etc. So what happens if while bringing the matzah ones, I have pigul intent? Do I ruin all 3 of the other categories? Or do I only ruin the one category of matzah? And the other 3 categories are still okay. So pigel belach metoda mahu, b'minchas ma'afe mahu. So too, when you bring a baked mincha, you bring different categories of bread. If I have pigul intent on one of the categories of bread, do I ruin all of the categories of bread? Says the Gemara, Tanalei Rav Tachlifim Ma'arava from Eretz Yisrael, V'chein at Omer B'lach Metoda, V'chein at Omer B'mincha Ma'afeh. V'chein is the machlokes. Well, it depends. Depends if you hold like Rabbi Yossi or like the Rabbanan. It's the same machlokes, Rabbi Yossi and the Rabbanan. Rabbi Yossi will say that if you ruin one, you don't ruin both, even though they're all going to be usher to eat again. But if you ruin one, then they don't all become pigul. And if you eat the other type of bread, you don't get pigul for that also. And the Rabbanan will say exactly what they say in our Mishnah, that once you ruin one of the Shtei Lechem, you ruin both, and you get pigul for both. So too, once you ruin one category, you ruin both categories, or all 4 categories, and you'll get pigul for all of them. Tana Rabbanan. Now we have a new thing here. We said before we were talking about eating a chatzi zayis from this one, a chatzi zayis from that one. What are we talking about now? B'shas shchita chishav lechol chatzi zayis. Now let's say we're talking about, again, not 2 different loaves of bread. We're talking about one thing. One thing. We're talking about eating this animal. I'm shechting an animal, and I'm talking about eating this animal chutz lizmano. Right? So now the question becomes, well, I don't have intent to eat a kazayis of this animal chutz lizmano. I have intent to eat chatzi of kazayis of this animal chutz lizmano. Like at first glance, there's nothing to talk about. That's not pigul. You have to have intent to eat a kazayis. But what happened here? During the shchita part of the avoda, I had intent to eat a chatzi kazayis of this animal chutz lizmano. And then during the zrika part, which were 3 steps later, with 2 steps in between, during the zrika part, I had intention to eat a chatzi kazayis. So b'shas shchita chishav lechol chatzi zayis, or b'shas zrika chishav lechol chatzi zayis. That's pigul. Meisha shchita zrika mistarfin. The intent that you had during the shchita combines with the intent that you had during the zrika, both of them being avodas, and therefore, if you go ahead and you eat this meat tomorrow, you're going to be over pigul. Says Gemara, Ikadam Shchita Zrika Detarvayu Matirin in Kabbalah Valachalo. Shchita and Zrika are really the 2 main matirins. You need all 4 avodas, but the 2 main matirins are shchita, the shechting, and the zrika, the throwing of the blood. The Kabbalah and the halacha are just seemingly to enable the zrika. The main parts are the shchita and the zrika. So the two main parts we combine, but if there's any combination of what? Shchita with Kabbalah, or shchita with halacha, or zrika with Kabbalah, or zrika with halacha, or for sure halacha and Kabbalah together, any type of wrong intentions during those, unless you have a kazayas between shchita, either by shchita by itself or zrika by itself, or the combination of shchita and zrika, if you don't have a combination between those two of them, then it's not going to be pigul.
You should work with the Kabbalah too, because it's also ma'akev.
Again, it's ma'akev, but the Gemara here is assuming that it's not the essential
Might not
part.
be the
They're all ma'akev. Halacha is also
No,
ma'akev.
halacha is not ma'akev.
You're talking about because you can pass it without
Yeah.
the thing.
So-
Okay, you asked that kasha yesterday. You can't ask the same
No,
kasha
this
2 days
is
in a
different.
row.
This is different.
Says the Gemara.
Talking about the Kabbalah should also.
The Kabbalah should also, but he's saying that it's not. I remember the kasha from yesterday.
Yeah, but it's different.
But he has his list of the 10 kashas he stumped Rabbi Spitz on. But
the Kabbalah also will be mitzaref.
But you need some. I thought we always, like you said that yesterday also, with the halacha not being ma'akev. It really is ma'akev. You just can get around it get around with it by. But I think the point here is that it's a different type of ikuv in the sense that it's not that it's not ma'akev. It's that the whole purpose of it is just to get to the zrika.
It's necessary.
It's necessary.
Impossible without.
It's impossible without. But the whole purpose is to get to the zrika. So the main, I would say, the two. If you want to rank them. I don't know 1 and 2, but 1 and 2 would be shchita zrika. 3 and 4 would be Kabbalah holacha.
Well, if you compare it with the bird offering, because when you do the bird, you don't need to have the Kabbalah of the blood. You just take it straight from the bird.
But here you do need the Kabbalah.
No, because you have no other way of doing it.
Right.
Right.
Says the Gemara. And the other way of looking at it is that no, if I can combine the first avoda with the fourth avoda, which are so far apart, for sure I could combine 1 with 2 and 1 with 3 and 2 with 3 and 3 with 4 and 2 with 4. I can combine all of them. That's the other way of learning at it. Says the Gemara, those are the two Ika Diamris. Ini, is this true? V'hatani Levi, but Levi says, Arba avodos, ein mitzvah, was a pigol, shchita, zrika, kabbalah, v'olacha. It sounds like you can't combine any of the avodos, even shchita and zrika. Amar v'lo kashya. Ha-Rebbe, ha-Rabbanan. No, it's a machlokas. Rebbe says you can combine, and Rabbanan says you can combine. Yes. D'tanya shochet edekev esacho chatzi zayis michal azu v'chein chaver olecho chayitz chatzi zayis michal azu. Rabbi Amer Omer anisha zeh kasher. You see over here that if I shacht it, eat a kazayis from this challah and a kazayis from that challah, so I shacht it. Again, there's a little bit of a different case because you're shachting two different things here, but you're mixing the two shchitas and you're mixing the two challahs. But this is shezeh kasher because Rabbi says you can't combine. Only Abaye, no. What are you talking about? This is a different case, like Rabbi is saying. Eimer deshamet leile Rabbi. What are you talking about? Over here, we're dealing with a chatzi mater and a chatzi achila. We're dealing with one lamb and the other lamb. Over here, we're dealing with the same lamb. Over here, in my case that we were talking about, we're only dealing with one animal. We're talking about shchita and zrika on the same animal. So even if you don't combine two different lambs, if I don't combine the pigul from this lamb and the pigul with that lamb, two chatzi kazayis, that's not what I'm looking to do here. Here I'm looking to combine a chatzi kazayis and a chatzi kazayis from the same animal. So maybe even Rebbe would agree. Kulo matir v'chatzi achila misham islay. If I'm dealing with the kulo matir, again, it's two different parts of the avoda, but it's one matir. I'm dealing with one animal over here, and with one animal, I have the intent of chatzi kazayis during the shchita and chatzi kazayis during the zrika, or like the ikad amrei, it doesn't matter, chatzi kazayis during either parts. So at the end of the day, maybe he would agree that it does combine. Amalei Rava bar Rav Chanan le'abai v'islei le'Rebbe kula matir v'chatzi achila ligzer chatzi matir v'chatzi achila atu kula matir v'chatzi achila. To Rabbi Yossi Gazer Rabbanan Gazri. So it's going to get a little bit touchy, but at the end of the day, what's he saying over here? This last part. That it can't be. The Rebbe holds that in the case where you have shchita and zrika, it can't be that you can combine the chatzi, right? We understand that case. Where you're doing the shchita, you're doing the zrika, and during each one you're saying, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do pigul on chatzi or kazayas. So the Gemara said, well, you see from a different case, the Rebbe holds that where you have two different kevesid, which is not one matir. We're considering shita and zrika to be one matir. Where you have two different keveses, where you have two different matirs. So we said that over there, where you have two different matirs, he holds that they don't combine. The Gemara says, well, this case is different. The Gemara says this case is different, but if in fact he held that it would combine, then he would make a gezerah in the other case. What does that mean? The fact that he holds by the two matirin, when you have the two animals, again, it's more of a chiddush to combine two animals than it is to combine the shchita and the zrika. That's the given in the Gemara. It's more of a chiddush where I'm going to combine the intent when I'm shechting this animal of chatzik gazayis. Forget about the fact that there are 2 loaves. That's what's so confusing here. You have 2 animals and 2 loaves. Forget about the 2 loaves. It's more of a chiddush to say I'm going to combine the intent that I have during this animal for chatzik gazayis of that loaf with the intent that I have during this animal for the chatzik gazayis of the loaf. That's more of a chiddush than to say I'm going to combine the chatzik gazayis of this animal during the shechita with the chatzik gazayis of this animal during the zrika. So the Gemara is saying we want to say that it can't be Rebbe because over there he says what? Over there by the shechting of the 2 keveses, he says you don't combine. What's the chiddush? I don't understand. Why is that a proof? Maybe by the 2 keveses you don't combine, but by the 1 keves of shechita and zrika you do combine. Says the Gemara chiddush that no, because if in fact he felt that during the shechita and the zrika, you were, over there he says what? Sorry, over there he says kosher. Over there he says kosher. If in fact it was pigul during the shechita and the zrika, if in fact they would combine during the shechita and zrika to make it pigul, which we're saying Rabbi Yossi holds they don't, but if in fact it was combining during the shechita and the zrika, he would make a gzeira in the lesser case of 2 different animals and say even though there's more of a reason that they shouldn't combine, they're going to combine. We're going to say it's going to be usher to do because we're worried that you're going to come ahead and do pigul in the other case. The fact that he doesn't make any gezeiras and he says kosher, you could actually go ahead and you can actually seemingly eat it, right? He says kosher, no? Shezek kosher. The fact that he doesn't make any gezeiras in the case of the 2 keveses shows that in the case of the shechita and the zrika, even though he says it's necessarily usher to do, you might not be able to eat it afterwards, he holds that it's not pigul. Because if in fact it was pigul where during the shechita I have intent to eat half of the kazayis, and during the zrika I have intent to eat half of the kazayis, then in order to be careful, I would have made a gzeira that in the case of the 2 keveses, which is again not as chamor, but in the lesser case of the 2 keveses, I would have said it's usher. It's not pigul, but it's usher to eat. It's usher midrabanan to eat. Right. The point of the Gemara is that I would have made an isser derabanan if this was a case where this would have been pigul. The fact that I didn't make the isser derabanan in the case of the 2 keveses shows that it must be that Rabbi Yossi holds that in the case of the 1 keves during the shechita and the zrika, it's not considered to be pigul. Because if it had been pigul, he would have gone out of his way to make a gzeira derabanan in the case of the 2 keveses. That's what the Gemara is saying. Okay? So says the Gemara, what?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm still not sure I understand it, but okay, it sounds good. Says the Gemara, no, but that's a pshat, is that I would have made a gzeira. That makes sense. I would have made a gzeira in this case of the 2 keveses if this was pigul. The fact that I didn't make the gzeira and I say it's kosher in the keveses shows that I'm not worried in other cases. Therefore, in a chanami, it's going to be usher to eat, but I'm not going to say it's pigul during the shechita and the zrika case. So now says the Gemara, we're just going to end with these discussions. Now the Gemara is going to say that Rabbi Yossi and Rabbanan make gzeiras. And again, this I'm not 100% clear on, but I'll do my best. Says the Gemara, Rabbi Yossi Gazer, Rabbanan Gazre, that both of them make Zera derabbanans, even in cases where it's not Pigul deraisa, they make Zera derabbanans to go ahead and aser something, als another case. Rabbi Yossi Gazer did not, Rabbi Yossi makes a Zera in the following case. Again, anytime you make a Zera, that means what? Paso ve'ein bo kares. Right? Saying kosher is not a Zera. Saying paso ve'ein bo kares is a Zera. It's not Pigul, but you can't eat it because we're worried in another case that if you eat it, you're going to actually get pigul. That's what pasol ve'ein kares means. This is pasol, but there's no kares because it's not really pigul, but we're making gzeira. So anytime you see that, that's a gzeira. Kosher is nothing. Pasol ve'ein kares is gzeira, and pigul ve'yesh kares, that's pigul, or yesh kares is pigul. So it says, what's the case of Rabbi Yossi's gzeira? Rabbi Yossi gazer did non lahaktu livonot salamachar. If I have intent during the kamitza that I'm going to burn the lavona, which is again a different, during the actual kamitza, I have intent that I'm going to burn the lavona lamachar. So Rabbi Yossi Omer pasol ve'ein bo kares, chamrom in pigul v'chayav no kares. That's a case of pasol. That means that when I have intent during the kamitza to burn the lavona tomorrow, so the shirayim becomes aser, but it's only pasol ve'ein bo kares. It's not real pigul. For Rabbana nami gazri, and the Rabbana make a gzeira to non pigul b'kometz v'lo belavona. If I have pigul during the kamitza or during the burning of the kamitza, I have pigul to eat the shirayim lamachar, but not during the burning of the lavona. If I have during the burning of the lavona, not during the burning of the kamitza, Rabbi Meir Omer pigul v'chayav no kares. Chamom ein bo kares ad sheyifka b'chol hamatir. There's no kares there, but it's a gezerah derabanan. Amalei hachi ashta bishlama hasam gazer Rabbi Yossi kometz the lavona atu kometz the mincha. That means I understand. You have to explain to me, if you're going to make a gezerah, you have to explain to me the reason for the gezerah. So what's the reason for the gezerah over there? When I went ahead and I had intention lahaktir levonas lemachar. While doing the kemitza, I had intention to burn the levona tomorrow. So during the kemitza, I had intention to burn the levona tomorrow. The levona has to be burned today. That's going to be a problem. Atu kometz de mincha. What does that mean? That if I intend during the kemitza to what? To burn the kometz tomorrow, that's pigul. So again, if I go during the kemitza and I have intention that I'm going to burn this kemitza lamachar, that's real pigul. If I eat the shirayim, that's the classic case. We're going to make a gzeira, even though it's not real pigul, that if during the kemitza I have intention to burn the levona tomorrow, that's going to be usher, because again, I don't want you to go ahead and have intention to burn the kemitza tomorrow. So that makes sense. Rabbanan gazri kometz atu kometz de minchas chote. And the Rabbanan made a gzeira when I do the kemitza, when I have intent during the burning of the kemitza to go ahead and eat the shirayim lamachar, I made a gzeira there during the burning of the kemitza because of the kemitza of minchas chote. What's the kemitza of minchas chote? Pigul during the burning of the kemitza really shouldn't be pigul during the burning of the kemitza. It should only be pigul during the taking out of the kemitza. But if I have pigul during the burning of the kemitza, that shouldn't be pigul. But I made it aser als pigul during the burning of the levona by the lechem apanim. If I have pigul during the burning of the levona of the spoons by the lechem apanim, then that's pigul. So I made pigul, so I made a gezerah by the burning of, I made a gezerah by the burning of the levona by the kemitza, by the case of the korban mincha, als the burning of the levona by the case of the lechem apanim. Because if I had the wrong intent during the burning of the levona by lechem apanim, that's the main avoda, that's going to be pigul. But if I have intent during the burning of the levona by the kemitza, that's not pigul, but I'm still going to make it aser, gezerah als that. Ulevona atu levona abba bibazikin. And a pigul during the burning of the levona, I'm going to have als pigul during the burning of the levona of the lechem apanim again. So it comes out both. Kometz atu kometz de minchas chote, levona atu levona abba bibazikin. I explain the second one first. That means pigul during the burning of the kemitza really shouldn't be pigul. But I'm going to make it aser if I have pigul during the burning of the kemitza by korban mincha. Als pigul during the burning of the kemitza when there is no levona, which is what? Which is the case of minchas chote. It is pigul. By the case of the minchas chote, where there is no levona, then if I do it during the burning of the kemitza, there is pigul. But if I have if pigul during the burning of the levona, I'm going to make aser als pigul during the burning of the levona by the lechem apanim. Says the Gemara, Kvasim nami keves atu keves chavero bezach atu bezach chavero. So then the Gemara says, well, wait, pigul intent during the avoda of one lamb should be a gzeira als pigul during the avoda of the other lamb. It means if you have pigul during both, it's pigul. But if you have pigul during one, it doesn't ruin the other one. Why not? Why don't we say that we have a gzeira during the second one? Elahacha mi'ika chati matir v'chati achila ba'alma deleikum v'ligzar. We have no case out there of what? We have no case where you have a chati matir and a chati achila where we're going to be gozer. That means that we have no case where you're going to have one matir with half the achila. This is which is what our case is. Our case is one keves with half of a kezayis, and the other keves with half a kezayis. So it's each one is a chatzi matir, and each of them is chatzi achila. We have no precedent why that should be usher. We have no case, another case that's like it, where we should make a gzeira to make it usher in this case. Which is why in this case, again, what did he say? Hashochet et keves lecho chatzi zayis michalazu v'chein chaver lecho chatzi zayis michalazu. Rabbi Omer anisha zeh kasher. Again, in order to make a gzeira, I know there's a lot here. In order to make a gzeira, you have to have another case that your gozer because of. There is no other case that the Gemara could think of that your gozer over here, that you should be gozer when you have two animals, each one being half of a matir, because you need to do both of them to make this stuff permissible. There's no case they could think of where you have chatzi matir and chatzi gezayis, so you should have to make a gzeira, and that's why he says it's kosher over here. Says the Gemara, and it makes sense to say that the Rabbanan who said that it's usher here is just to safeguard. So again, in Shechazar it and try to get it a little clearer. Just the Mishnah. Just do the Mishnah here. Nidmeis achas min achalas o achad min asidarim. If one of the two chalas of the shtei alechem become tamei, or one group of the 6 challahs of the lechem apanim become tamei. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Shneim Yatzel Lebeis Hasreva Shein Korban Sibor Chalak. What is this? This is a Korban Sibor. Let's use the Shtei Lechem. They're both part of the same Korban Sibor. If one half of the Korban Sibor becomes tamei, the whole thing has to be burnt, because you can't split up the Korban Sibor and say, okay, I'm going to go to Sobeys and buy another challah, and now I have the 2 challahs that I need for the Shtei Lechem. It doesn't work like that. If one gets ruined, both of them get ruined. V'chachamim omrim, as we paskin, hatamei b'tumaso v'atomar yochal. That even if one of the 2 Shtei Lechem becomes tamei, at the end of the day, the tamei one is tamei, the tahor one remains tahor, and you could eat the one of the